All right, my friends, excuse me, it's an earlier version of our Ventilation Friday. It's 4 p.m. in the East Coast, and Mrs. L and I have an engagement this evening, so we wanted to make sure that we continue with our new tradition on Friday by saying hello, a hearty hello, and hi, old silver, and a welcome to all of you great people on Ventilation Friday earlier. Good day, my darling.
A good day, husband, my better half. Well, Ventilation Friday is something you did years ago on the radio. You did that all years and years ago, decades ago. So that was something. Let us just continue this tradition because there's a lot to ventilate about today. And I'd like to start with, do you mind if I start?
By the way, our good friend Liz Solak says, no need to vent, we won. No, always ventilate. Ventilate means to let out steam. It doesn't mean complain. It doesn't mean that we're unhappy. It just means that we're letting out, we can ventilate about something that we're very happy about. It's not complaining per se.
It's not complaining. It's asking questions. It's reviewing headlines. It's asking you what you think, what you want to talk about, basically. But I have to start with these drones.
Now, I'm sorry. Is everybody hearing us okay? 5 by 5, let us know. Don't want to go through this because we had a little bit of a StreamYard problem before. So in any event, if everything looks okay, I guess we're all right. Good. I'm sorry, darling. Go ahead.
Just with the drones, because over the Hudson River last week.
Look at this. I'm sorry. He did it again. Breaking news.
What is that?
A drone struck an Airbus coming into New York City. They are claiming bird strike. Video does not support that claim. Traitors are trying to hold on to power via the Emergency Act. Wake up, patriots. I'm sorry. Just as
I don't know what these drones are, but I think we can all agree on Ventilation Friday. We're not getting the true story. How dare they treat us so stupidly when people are taking movies, pictures. We had a hearing in New Jersey. The governor did not even show up for it. I'm very well connected. We are to New Jersey. They feed me a lot of information. My warriors there. I myself saw over the Hudson River on 2 different occasions recently, drones. These were not airplanes, helicopters, anything like that, hanging in the air. And then all of a sudden, I went to take a picture on the second time. Remember I told you this? The picture doesn't show up. They turn out their lights. Obviously, from San Diego to New Jersey, one crashed in New Jersey. Did anybody see the picture of that? It looks like a big car. And this was yesterday, and it's near in Morris County. I think it's New Jersey's largest reservoir, if I'm not mistaken. Don't hold me to that, but I believe it is. And you know what? This is completely frightening that we have a government telling us this is nothing to worry about. We don't think it's a threat. When you have across the country, the Bronx last night reported. We had Staten Island reporting. I saw Manhattan. So I don't know what's going on. Do you have any thoughts about this?
I don't know. I mean, I could.
It's not amateurs playing all of a sudden with hundreds of drones.
And it's not a drone that we're used to. Wait a minute. It's not a little usual digital drone where you take a picture, those little kind of things you buy at the store. These are basically the size, they said, of an SUV.
Yes.
They seem to be almost military grade or weaponized. I'm using perhaps the wrong term. But what's interesting is Elon Musk and Vivek should be on a plane, they're there anyway, right there and say, right off the bat, what's going on here? All they have to do is to show up. And they could say, we're not in office, we have no power.
Yes.
But if they showed up, or J.D. Vance, or Tom Homan, or anybody, but I would say Elon could put in, you would think he would be all over this. Just to sit there and say, what is it? You don't think Elon and his buddies can get to the bottom of this? I don't understand it. So I'm thinking, am I reading too much into this? I
don't think so. When did you ever hear we had hundreds of flying objects across the entire United States happening? I've never heard about anything like this. I think it's frightening. And I think it's frightening. We always have to remember about kids. And when I say kids, that includes teenagers. They may not express themselves, but this frightens kids if they hear about things now flying in the air. So I don't think there's enough talk. I do agree. Elon should be out there just putting statements out there. We've got to get to the bottom of this. But I think it's very frightening, and especially, again, for the kids. Now, the second thing and I will say I am complaining now and upset. I am very upset that Joe Biden, with his 1,499 pardons, commuting sentences included this Lucerne County, Pennsylvania judge, Michael Colahan or something like that, who was the kids for sale. Do you remember that story? He was convicted in 2011. He took 2.1 million in bribes to put kids for very minor offenses in this detention facility where he was getting kickbacks. Things such as stealing a candy bar at the convenience store. A kid went to prison. There are cases where the kids committed suicide because they couldn't take it, ruined families, ruined lives. Now the sentence was commuted. So I want you to explain.
But it was clearly a prison industrial complex. This is what we've been talking about, the PIC. This is what we have been worried about the most when we have been concerned about folks who have tried to privatize the prison, which I am absolutely adamantly against privatization, because this is what you get.
Yeah, it was called the Kids for Cash program, and he did go to jail in 2011. It was a 17-and-a-half-year sentence. And then in 2020, and I'm not clear on the story, 2020, and he's more elderly now, but in 2020, because of COVID, they let him be on house arrest in Florida. I'm not sure he ever went back to prison, but he had his sentence commuted. Now, would you explain the difference between the sentences pardoned and commuted?
It reduces a sentence, but does not erase the conviction nor imply innocence. It just either limits it, maybe to time served, or releases him. Look at this right now. He's going crazy. Buried in the massive list of nearly 1,500 people whose criminal sentences were commuted is this case. Former Luzerne County Judge Michael T. Conahan, along with another former judge, was accused of shutting down the the juvenile detention center, and then receiving more than $2 million from for-profit detention centers as part of a kids for cash deal. So it means either to release him from sentence from prison, to limit it. But he is not pardoned. He is not forgiven. A pardon is a forgiveness. It doesn't happen. So he is released.
Well, I don't think, and again, I'm not clear on this one. I don't think he's been in any prison since 2020 when they released him because of COVID. So I guess now he's just gets to stay home in Florida while all these poor families are destroyed. He's been out. So I guess he still has, he's still a criminal.
Maybe there was a parole or some kind of post-sentence. It could end any confinement, any sentence. Dick Dickerson says the PDF in charge is pardoning a lot of PDFs. It's sick.
It's also sick. There was that Chinese person who they're calling it a prisoner exchange in exchange for, I think it was 3 Americans in China for this one criminal who had thousands upon thousands of CSAM, child sexual abuse material, in his possession. So there's that. And these stories are very murky when you try to research them and really get facts on them. And there are a few more of those cases. So, throw child safety out the window with this administration.
Our good friend, our den mother, Liz Solak, says, "You guys look great. Hope you are taking Mrs. L on a hot date tonight."
Every night's a hot date in this house.
No, it's not. Yes. Liz Solak, bless your heart. Lizzie's been with us.
Liz.
Liz, by the way, February 22nd, Liz one time was at the cutting room dancing on the table.
I had to take her. I had to say, you have to get off the table.
Throwing plates. Then she was yelling, I'm Greek. And I'm thinking, I don't know. But she is one of our.
It was a good time had by all. Remember, what happens in the cutting room
stays in the cutting room.
We do that. Okay. So let's also talk about, we've been really busy running around, haven't we?
Oh, yes.
Between the tremendous.
We got an Ed.
Oh, well.
Look at this. Christine.
I don't want to mention the Ed story.
Christine loves your necklace.
Thank you. I'm a layerer. I usually even wear more, but I just wore this today, but thank you.
Oh, you can tell the story. Yesterday,
we're off to some festivities later.
I walked our Ed back. It's about a 6-foot tree. And I swear to God, in many respects, there was almost a Christ reference. I'm not trying to in any way blaspheme the notion of the Christ carrying the cross.
It's all my fault.
But this thing was so odd, I couldn't. So I'm kind of like, I'm carrying it all the way back. Then the netting that you wrap it, it gets caught in my button, and It was, believe me, I passed out. I dropped it off. I dropped in the bed. I said, I can't move.
You did, but here's what
I
happened.
was
Let
out
me tell
of
everybody
breath.
what happened.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get a tree all week. One day, extreme high winds. One day, working nonstop.
That was me, by the way.
One day, no way with the schedule could I make it to look at a tree, pick a tree with you. Nothing. Schedules. That was like 2 days, right?
Mhm.
Then the fourth day, we had that cyclone bomb.
Yes.
Pouring rain and winds. Couldn't do it then. Then I figured, okay, the next day, the trees will be wet in the morning, but they'll dry off after a few hours. So I was determined yesterday because I like a real tree. I've never had an artificial tree in my entire life. We have never had an artificial tree.
We have not.
And as a child, you said you had
Yes,
them.
I did.
I never had them. We had a real tree.
Because you were classy.
Family tradition, we went out to get the tree. Okay. So you've endured my trees for decades. Okay. And so yesterday was my chance. Early afternoon, they're dried off, I figured. And I went and did a few Christmas errands. And then I called you and said, I found my tree. Could you just meet me, block and a half away or so?
Block and a half,
maybe 2 blocks, maybe two. But and because I like to go to the same guys and support them.
1, 2,
no, it is
3.
Well, it's across town too.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I like to support these great guys from Canada. No, those guys from Canada.
Don't you love the way their accents are?
It's very strange. But they're always very nice. Like,
they're so
I can't do
nice.
the accent. But I found the tree. So you very graciously, I disturbed you. You were in the throes of working on legal things, all this stuff. And I said, could you meet me? And you said, of course. And then we got our tree. Now, the trees always look smaller on the sidewalks in New York City than when you actually get them home. It didn't look like it would be hard to carry. And he wrapped it in the netting. But on top of it, everybody, it was okay for about 2 blocks. But when you turn towards the Hudson River, the winds were knocking us over.
It's like a sail. When you're when you're heading west towards the Hudson, it's coming and it's cold as hell. But the thing is, I can't.
I know you're
like this wide.
And I was terrible.
So I can't compress it. So I've got to hold it like here.
It'll never happen again. I'll have them delivered.
It's not like you can carry a person on your shoulder. That's fine. And it was like this. It was like, oh my God. And anyway, so I said, and then you said, do you want to stop? I said, hell no, let's just go. Let's just get this.
You want to take a rest halfway. But we got it home. So we have Ed 2024 is sitting in the windows, soaking up lots of fresh water. I like the tree to sit overnight in some water. It will be decorated tomorrow, and then we will be sharing.
And there's always these great people. I don't know. They're from Quebec. And I said, where do you
accent is?
I know it's like not Bob and Doug, but it's a French Canadian.
Yes.
I said, where do you go to the bathroom? He goes, well, we all go over there to the pizza place. We like the one over there, and then we sleep in this. It's like a rough.
It's a trailer, like you would attach to the back of a truck. It's kind of like a flat closed trailer.
So they're from Canada, and the place that they're pointing to is I think the best pizza place, Justino's, which is where Walls went into. And I said, how do you like that pizza there? And he looked at me and he said, oh my God, this guy's French. He doesn't understand New York pizza.
They might live in like the woods or something.
Yeah,
I don't think they get out and really have pizza where they live. I really think, but they're so kind and nice.
Beautiful. And plus I'm nice to them. And
you always talk to people.
I talk to everybody. Freedom says you were looking sharp, Lionel, on a Friday night. Sir, your wife is a beautiful woman. You are blessed. MAGA man, I can't wait. You are blessed, MAGA man. I can wait. Thank you. I agree 100%.
So I thought we couldn't wait for MAGA man.
Oh, yes.
January 20th. Oh. But I feel like Trump's already president. Don't you just feel like November 6th, he's president, he's this, he's that?
Now, someone asked before, and it's a very, very good question. Let me get to this right away. Someone asked before the question, which was important. He said, let me see here. What does this mean about birthright? To make a long story short, can the president remove citizenship by birthright? It's going to be tough. That's the 14th Amendment, and it's there for a reason. theoretically, in order to protect slaves, when slaves from the descendants of slaves, to say that if you're born here, you're born in this country, you are an American citizen. And I don't know how he's going to stop that. I have not.
I don't think he's looking to do that.
He says birthright. He says, I want to get where he says, and then he says, we're the only country in the world that does this. Like, well, not really. So I'll just say, you know what? You just go ahead and you do your thing. Now, here's what I have to say. Let's assume that a child is born here to parents that are deported. All right? Okay. What do you think would happen? I'm sure it's happened. People come in all the time from JFK or LaGuardia or Newark, and a baby's born, let's say, here. What do you think happens to those parents? They go back to their country and take the baby, who's an American citizen. They don't just stay here because the baby's born here. There's nothing magical about you having to stay here. The child may have some type of right, but that doesn't mean the parents can't be deported. When a person is arrested, let's say you are driving drunk and you've got a kid in the car, they separate the child and the parents all the time. So I think that's sort of what he's trying to get to, I think. So we will see. We will see.
But remember, the first course of business with Tom Homan and President Trump is getting rid of the criminals, all of those people. It's not the families and the kids and separating people. People
Indeed.
have to leave that for a moment. It's the criminal element that goes first, and that's going to be a tremendous undertaking. So that's where it starts.
Indeed. Now, can we talk about what else is on your mind?
Well, I have to bring it up. I'm sorry. A couple of cases, Luigi, Diddy, and Jay-Z. I got to talk about it.
Please.
I went on with Nancy Grace yesterday.
And you own that.
I gave her a headache, but that's okay.
You own that show.
That's okay. I gave her a headache because I will always challenge. I'll always flip the questions around to get back to what I want to say, no matter what the question is, or get back to a survivor or a victim and keep the momentum going on that. And Nancy was asking me about, I call him Dirty Diddy.
Dirty Diddy.
Dirty Diddy.
It's alliterative.
Dirty Diddy in jail. We know he is in jail. He has not been really, guilty of anything yet, right?
He is being held. He is presumed innocent. Correct.
Right, presumed innocent. And so everybody's treating him as though he's guilty. And her questions to me were about, he is complaining about his Christmas Day diet and accommodations, and she was rattling off he's being offered special pies on Christmas, and there was an ex-warden from the Metropolitan Detention Center where Diddy is being held, Dirty Diddy, and he was very matter-of-factly, well, the inmates deserve on the taxpayer's dollar. That's the part that got me upset. On the taxpayer's dollar.
Well, we're paying for jail.
They have to have a normal day, on Christmas Day, like everybody else, and they deserve a nice meal. And they're going to have ping pong, and they're going to have this, and they're going to have tabletop basketball. And then I went berserk. I said, what about the taxpayer dollars for the victims, the moms that we at the Warriors have to buy diapers for, or get people to donate to us, personal products, diapers, wipes, food, games, toys. Where are the taxpayer dollars?
That's another issue.
I
but
understand.
You're right about that.
But so I said to Nancy, you know what? He needs to sweep out those jail cells. He needs to clean up the New York City streets, although in New York you couldn't do that because they would accuse you, ACLU, of labor trafficking if you tried to have. So you couldn't go to that, but I was trying to make a point.
Hang on. Let's unpack what you've said.
I don't like that.
I hate that.
Dig down, drill down, unpack.
First, we don't want anybody in chains.
No, I wasn't talking about.
Wait a minute. Let me just say something. Now, if you're gonna have these people, sometimes on New Jersey on Route 3, notice how they have these folks cleaning up, kind of like not prison units, but they'll be cleaning
I think it's a community service now kind of thing.
Now, here's what's great about that. The people who work in the jails love it. It's called the trustee provision. It gives people something to work for. It gives them something to do. It makes things better and safer. Believe me, the guards love it. That's number one. Number two, they're not charged with anything. They're just, I mean, they're charged, but they haven't been convicted of anything. They either can't make bond or no bond has been provided. But when you talk about the people the guards, the people who have to work there, they say, please. Years ago, they wanted to take away the weight rooms. This is for prison now. This is people who've already been convicted. And the guard said, oh, no, give them something to do. Give them something to work on. It's not that they're going to get powerful and overpower you. You want there to be an incentive. When you take away gain time, when you want them to, for example, if you get a GED, we'll knock some time off. I'm all for that. Anybody who wants to, that's not the goal of prison. Hang on, our dear friend Carla, the cooking CEO, says, please look at your email for my donation. Sent it 2 weeks ago. We'll do that. My email or Mrs. Check my email. I will look. Is it ours? Is it mine, Carla, or is it Mrs. L's? We will certainly look. Okay.
But the point of the Dirty Diddy story was because there are accusations from a then 13-year-old 24 years ago
This is the story.
that she was attacked. I'll just leave it at that. By Dirty Diddy and Jay-Z. This was the whole segment with Nancy yesterday. So I want to go back to something about incentive and jails and prisons. You know, I don't know. Maybe they have to restructure what those incentives are. If you do clean out the cells and wash the floors, then you can have, some TV time or something. I don't know if there's game time and this and that and the other thing, but that, and we have to, so there was that. I think the Jay-Z thing, we've heard a lot of rumors and whispers over the years about that whole thing with Beyonce and all the things going on there. I wonder, because he also, remember, he was hired by the NFL to do their halftime shows, the Super Bowl halftime shows, and coordinate their entertainment. So I'm wondering, since that's just around the corner, the Super Bowl, what's going to go on there? He put out a very aggressive statement attacking the lawyer representing this woman who will not give her name. Okay. She is now, 24, 37 years old. I get it. When women don't want to give their names or any victims or alleged victims, they are always scared. We deal with this at the Warriors over and over again. They are in fear, repercussions. They might have children, family members. The circle around Dirty Diddy, remember, there's still a lot of supporters of his on the outside that can do things for him. So I understand she may not want to give her name at all. But this very aggressive statement he put out denying these accusations of this, alleged victim at 13, it didn't say one thing. The aggressive rebuttal, whatever you want to call this statement, attacked the lawyer, Tony Busby, representing this woman. But he never said once, and this I brought up to Nancy, and there was dead silence. I said, read it. He never says, I did not, we have algorithms here, so I won't use the word, but I'll just say abuse. I did not abuse a 13-year-old little girl. I did not touch a 13-year-old little girl. It skirts around the whole issue, and it's attacking, I want her name. And it's
I just realized this.
What, Santa?
Where did you get this thing? This looks like a...
You're cutting off my story.
No, I'm sorry.
It's a vintage Santa Claus.
I was going to say it's so...
It's from like a thrift shop.
Like a hubcap.
What do you mean it's a hubcap?
It's a good size.
It's a vintage Santa made from China. Like China.
Not in China.
Not in China. Like China. It's
Beautiful.
very delicate.
I'm sorry.
I bring him out once a year. I got to be careful with him. I don't want him to break. And he's from a thrift shop in New Jersey.
Now, stop right there. Carla, thank you. I answered your email. Thank you right now. And let me, if I could, I have a very difficult time. Would you please tell me, I can understand the case of somebody who is a child, to have a child have their name, Jane or John Doe. I can understand a confidential informant. I can understand that. I can understand somebody who might get threats from, maybe he's involved in some kind of drug, police work, whatever. But If Jay-Z or anybody is going to have their name out there, and you're going to go to court, and you're going to be testifying and going to depositions or whatever it is, why isn't your name on there? I don't understand.
It's a different dynamic. These
children.
I understand, but even because the trauma lasts a lifetime, right?
Mhm.
We have all the studies that prove this. These people are terrorized. And remember, Jay-Z is still on the outside, probably one of the most powerful people in what's left of the music business, that whole thing. And they're scared. They're very scared.
No, I believe me when I understand.
Victims of any kind of assault are very scared. I understand what you're saying, and I kind of agree with you, except I know from the work we do, they're scared. Why do you think so many women don't come forward, or girls don't come forward? They're scared. They're not believed. They're scared, something could happen to their family, their children. It's the typical blame the victim thing and be aggressive, okay? And flip the story. So we've got that going on. And then I'm
just saying, I understand. I can balance the equities in this, just like I have a hard time.
You're trying to make it 50-50, right? His name's out there, so her name should be out there.
But I'm just asking a question. She's going to go to court at some particular point.
Well, she'll be a Jane Doe.
Yes.
What's wrong with being a Jane Doe?
Well, because
if there's evidence that this indeed, and that was the other thing I brought up to Nancy. The story is somebody, they don't say who, dropped her at Radio City, which is in the middle of New York City, for the MTV VMAs, Video Music Awards. And she was alone, and she was going up to limo drivers trying to break into the show and trying to get invited to after parties.
You are shaming the victim.
And no.
I'm kidding, of course.
Okay. And her story is that Dirty Diddy's driver said, listen, I'm the driver for Dirty Diddy, and just hang around here. I'll drive you to the after party. And she claims she went to a big White House with a circular drive, and that all kinds of things happened to her. And she was able to hit Jay-Z, Dirty Diddy after the assaults and run away to a gas station and call her father. The story is very murky, right? Like who dropped her at Radio City? If there is indeed a limo driver, don't we have records of who are the drivers, right? Maybe it's a full-time staff, maybe it's a company. So I was like, where's the proof? Because despite we always believe a victim, support a victim, we still need proof in court. And the problem I have with everything is because that other big story from a few years ago went by the wayside, right? Now we've got—
What was that other story?
Fifth letter of the alphabet.
Oh, yes.
I don't say the name here. And really let down a lot of true victims, survivors of these assaults. So if this case does the same, I personally believe, I'm not a lawyer, all right? I don't think in May of 2025, this will ever go to court.
No.
I don't know what's going to happen. You can break it down as a lawyer. I just don't think. We just had 3 men come out, right? And come
with
forward.
Different lawyers.
With different lawyers. We also have Lisa Bloom. She's representing two alleged victims. So there's a lot that keep coming out.
Lisa Bloom also was very interesting, involved years ago with Harvey Weinstein. Remember that?
Everybody forgot that story.
Yeah, Lisa Bloom, by the way, her mother is Gloria Allred.
Well, everybody forgot that. We'll leave that story. But the other case I want to get to is this unraveling of Luigi. And I found myself 2 days ago, just by coincidence, when I was actually walking right on the site of this murder. Okay. And it was very creepy for a moment. I realized I'm on the side of the Hilton. There's the Ziegfeld Alley. And then it occurred to me, everybody's going about their business. I bet you if I stopped and asked most of these people, they wouldn't even know what I'm talking about. But that door on West 54th Street, between 6th and 7th Avenue, is a very demure door, not a door the hotel many people use at the hotel. So what I want to say to you, how did this Luigi know at 6:45 in the morning this guy was going to come out that side door? Okay,
let me stop you for 1 second. By the way, our good friend Carla, thank you. We have just received your most kind email, and we will be addressing it. Thank you so much. How are your eyes? Your eyes okay?
No, but let's see. Let me see.
Okay, hang on a minute. Carla. Okay. We will be addressing this. Thank you. We don't want to embarrass anyone.
I want to embarrass Carla and say thank you,
but
thank you, thank you.
We will go through the specific here, but thank you immensely for that. You are
A warrior.
A warrior indeed.
Thank you very much.
Couple of things. How do we say this? First and foremost, I want to go back about the Diddy thing before we forget. You cannot forget somebody who has a, how do I say this? Who has a First Amendment, who has constitutional rights to various procedural protections, irrespective of who you are, whether you're an axe murderer, whether it's a parking ticket. So when you start to have defendants who are kept secret, when you extend statutes of limitations to the point where you're saying, what, there were cases of people bringing cases in New York against priests from 60, 70-year-old men now for priests who were dead 70 years ago.
Yeah.
Parishes that, now I'm not saying it didn't happen, but there has to be this balance. So the first person is, imagine this. If I said to you, so-and-so is suing you, who? Lenora Dubitsky. Who? Lenora Dubitsky. I don't know Lenora. Versus Jane Doe. Who's Jane Doe? You'll see. What do you mean you'll see? Well, she says that you and she ran into each other at a video music award. Well, like there's a million people there. Yeah, but she, you'll know. Wait a minute. Who is she? I can't tell you. What do you mean you can't tell me? Well, it's a young person. Well, which young person? There's something that it's like, this gets very Star Chamber-like. I don't like this. It's like, who did it? What did we do? When did we? That's all. So that's one consideration. However, keeping kids out of courtrooms, absolutely. How about this one? We used to have this one in court where kids didn't want to testify in court because of the particular harrowing facts that were involved. What is the problem with that is that there's this thing called the Sixth Amendment Confrontation Clause. You have the right to confront your accuser. So sometimes there would be, where is the victim? Well, they're on a videotape, or we're not going to allow them. It's too traumatic. I was like, wait a minute. I understand that, and we'll accommodate them. Perhaps maybe clearing out the courtroom, not having strangers. But you can't erode, rights just because of the particular the problems involved. For example, Michael Jackson, they were claiming that they could identify specific markings on his nether regions. Do you think Michael Jackson, the defendant, has or did have any particular rights to privacy? Can we seal these records? Well, he's charged with this. Wait a minute. We can't lose sight. So anyway, it's a balance. How that balance works. Because let me tell you something. Let's talk about cases where sometime we'll get to Luigi in a moment. Like this Duke lacrosse woman who lied. Tawana Brawley in 1987, who lied. And they wanted to take this Officer Pagonis here, and they wanted to string this guy up because she lied. Why would she lie about that? Why would she lie? Because she's a liar. And kids can find themselves also lying. And I know you don't want to.
And she was pushed by who?
Al Sharpton.
There you go.
Alton Maddox and C. Vernon Mason.
Well, they should be held responsible.
Then we get into this one. And I'm going to say something to you, which you probably, how do I say this? You may not have heard of this. False memory syndrome. I cannot tell you. We know roundabout where there are some psychiatrists who will say, well, you have a repressed, you had some type of untoward intimacy with your father or something. You say, wait a minute, I don't remember that. Oh no, it's suppressed and
Why
it's
do they
repressed.
do that?
But it's been going on forever. You never hear about that. You never hear about that. You never hear about the case, and I've told you to the millionth time, of a client of mine who was
Yeah.
they had him in the newspaper of having basically been untoward towards his daughter because she was asked by a nurse, does daddy, because they found a bruise or something, the kid fell off, goes, does daddy ever touch you? And he go, wait a minute. And he says, yes. When? He goes, after my bath. And this woman said, aha, ritualized. Well, the ritualized, and he showed me, was a particular ointment, some type of something that was, we had the doctor testify, I forget what it was, had an allergic reaction to shampoo, or I don't know what it was, but they ran with this. He can't get, and now this was before the internet, thank God, then your name is forever connected. So these Duke lacrosse players, for the rest of their life, you run that name, and you say, oh, were you the...
Yeah.
And there are people who don't even get the facts of the case as to news now correctly. You were one of the... Do they know what happened? So here's this woman after the fact asking for forgiveness. She lied. And the prosecutors pushed this. So just remember, this is a very, very... it's a lot of balancing acts that go there.
What about, did you see that the prosecutor, maybe it's the DA, I'm not sure, with the Jocelyn Ungary, the little 12-year-old, is asking for the death sentence for those 2 illegal aliens. Now, what are your thoughts on that?
On the death penalty?
On for those 2, yes, asking for the, death penalty for these 2 illegal aliens.
Well, if the laws of the state provide for it, if a jury gets the chance to make a recommendation of such within the laws, I say fine. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Absolutely not.
No, let's get to Luigi. We have to talk about
Louis.
I'm calling him Luigi, but that reminds me of like Mario Brothers.
Yeah, right. Doesn't Mangioni's?
I don't want to laugh.
Mark Simone's has a great line. He says, "Doesn't it sound like some Italian restaurant on like Northern Boulevard and Queen?" I mean,
no,
like
I think
Mangioni's.
I think there's a chain, Maggiori's, or
yeah, that's Maggiore, right?
I don't know. In New Jersey,
by the way, Mangione means glutton or big eater.
Everybody forgets in all of this. Like,
remember Free as a Wind, Chuck Mangione, and his brother Gap Mangione. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Still a man, father, died.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think I'm going to wear my Trump pin tonight.
I think you can. It will be a crowd that will wholly appreciate it.
Oh, I'm going to wear that.
And they will be loving it. It's so odd, this Luigi story, right? So he disappeared about 6 months ago. This is what we're reading, we're hearing. The mother has been looking for him. He dropped off the face of the earth.
Well,
I don't know. He's in San Francisco.
Do you think maybe they're telling the story now because they're trying to explain, well, why didn't you?
Here's the thing.
Okay.
We have been told repeatedly he comes from a family of money, right? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
We know when children are missing, I don't care if they're 26 years old, a child, the children are found because the families hire private investigators. That is 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
They find them because you have the funds to go out and look for them. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's what needs to be done. Most people can't afford that, right? Do they have private investigators looking for him? This is 6 months later.
That's what they said, yeah.
They did say they had private investigators. Yeah. Well, they're bad. All these people
right.
seem to be bad, right?
Right.
I mean, I don't know, because we have people that can find kids like within 12 hours.
Let me ask you a question. Do you believe there should be any degree of responsibility, whether socially, legally, or whatever, on the part of these parents for not doing anything? Yes or no?
I don't want to blame the parents. I need some more information, and I'll tell you why. I have known terrific parents who have horrible, awful children. I don't know how they got that horrible or awful. And these are parents that did everything they could do. Then I know horrible, awful, drug-addled, drunks, all these disgusting men in the houses, and they end up with great kids. But I'm not going to blame parents. And he also, was 26 years old. So it wasn't like he was 15, 16,
Right.
17. So no, I'm not blaming any parents.
No.
I will not do that. Mm-mm.
I am amazed.
It is strange they couldn't find him for 6 months, or so they claim. That I'm finding a little bit shaky, the story, because he's 26. You can't force him to come home or whatever, right? But
well, the first thing I wish we would do is I wish they would stop saying what a genius he is.
Where did he get money from in the last 6 months?
He's not
were there transfers into his, there are things we don't know, into his account. What was it? Was he using cryptocurrency?
It's fascinating.
Because we just keep hearing that he's a genius and a tech and this and that. But I think, what do you think his outcome will be? It's a strange story.
In his case, he'll be found or plead guilty. He'll plead guilty. He's looking at second-degree murder. It's in New York. He won't do the full life. He should. If this isn't.
But he wasn't even. The family didn't even have that United Healthcare. That was not their insurance.
They had nothing.
I thought that was in the beginning, and they were denied claims or something, and that made him go berserk. That was part of the story.
He didn't have that. He's never been through this. The claim doesn't make any sense.
But he went after this guy in particular. He didn't go after.
Right. Aetna or.
Did you hear about? I digress a little bit. The Enron. They're trying to.
Yes.
Somebody threw a.
Did you? I don't believe that.
No, they're just doing it for publicity. They're trying to, have Enron. Remember that big failure come back on the scene, and somebody threw a pie in his face.
By the way, another one too is, did you see that Clarice? What is her name? Clarice Ward on CNN, where she supposedly they found the man. I don't believe that released.
She found him hidden. He was locked away for months.
CNN. Okay, all right.
But every time I see the name like Clarissa or something, you know what I think of?
Hello, Clarice.
Hello, Clarice. Right. Silence of the lambs.
The parents are not at all responsible. Second of all,
but courts are starting to hold parents responsible in different states.
Not for an adult. Maybe a minor. Maybe.
Well, what about some of these? Aren't they holding that person with President Trump back in July? Didn't I hear they're holding the father responsible for?
Well, if this was a minor and you made guns available,
a minor. Wasn't he? I forget, how old was he? 21.
I don't know.
So that's a legal adult. But I thought I heard they were holding the father. But we don't hear any more about that story either lately. That one went away too.
Pilgrim says you're both looking very Tony this afternoon. Indeed, we are.
Thank you.
Now let me ask you this question, which is the most important. This story. I was listening to one. I'm not going to mention it.
Mention it.
No.
Give us an initial. Give us a hint.
No.
Give us a little something.
Guy's real horse's ass. Anyway, but trying so hard to make it so that it was kind of like MK Ultra, LSD. He went away. He worked with the spooks. They got him. Okay. The guy wrote a half a page to a page of his manifesto. He's a schmuck. He was doing opioids. He went nuts. And for some crazy, I want to know about this guy. But what I'm going to say is, you're going to hear this as being the most unimaginative story, bar none.
And he's taking Greyhounds to Philadelphia to get. But you know what?
And he gets popped at a Mickey D's in Altoona.
Not even by law enforcement.
Remember, Ted Kaczynski, if it wasn't for that sister-in-law or the brother, they wouldn't have known anything.
He would have gotten away.
Remember when they published the manifesto in the New York Times? This thing was a manifesto.
That was a manifesto. But
holy God.
But you know what? Because particularly with teenage boys, right? When they do those psychotic.
By the way, Crooks was 25, according to Faye Dalton. Thank you, Faye. He was 25.
25. So now we have to see. I believe they're holding the father also accountable.
Okay.
But also with our work at the Warriors, the opioids, or the marijuana vaping with some teenage boys really makes them have this psychotic kind of split. Mm-hmm. And a good portion of them are always writing in notebooks and making their own manifestos. And that's what this kind of reminded me of. That was he a vapor? I know it sounds very elementary, but we really don't know. But it is a curious story. And I have to say, I don't wish this upon any family. I don't know the family. I don't know what they're like. Can you imagine? I don't wish this on anybody, this kind
No.
of thing. No, I do not. So how about that Mayor Eric Adams of ours? All of a sudden, he's going to help President Trump. He's going to help Tom Homan. He's going to get rid of the criminals. Kathy Hochul, governor of New York. I'm going to get them out of our state. You're following all this now?
Mhm.
They're all falling in line.
Look at the head of Google. Look at everybody doing.
He's visiting Mar-a-Lago. I think this weekend he's going. They're all piling into Mar-a-Lago. They're lining up. They're begging to get in there, because now it's like the cool kids. I do have a problem with, and I hope President Trump and those around him never forget what they put them through and put us through in the American public in the last several years. Do you agree with me on that? I'm not saying we should be, vigilantes but I'm just saying we have to remember at all times what was done to everybody and remain vigilant. Because as I tell you every day, I'm about 4 years from now. It has to continue past these 4 years. The momentum, the strength, we have to.
Get a little research, time out. First and foremost, there have been people who have been found liable in the past, but they can't be they can't be an adult. Somehow aiding and abetting, maybe somebody that maybe is getting guns when they're crazy. I don't know. That's going to be really tough. In the Patrick Ben-David show, Daniel Baldwin, one of the Baldwin that nobody remembers. You got Steven. I know Steven. He's the
Steven's in a new show. It's like they throw them in a swamp and they have to fight their way out.
Well, Steven's doing this one.
Show.
He's doing this one show called One Bad Actor or something.
Doing another one.
He's doing this really phony, fake laughing. He was on with Michael Madsen. Anyway, he's doing one of those. That's Steven. You got Billy, who's married to that lunatic. China, whose breastplate's a god, but okay, she's forgot. You got that. You got Alec.
Jesus, it's okay.
No, but her whole she's Jesus. No pun intended. She's the first one to have found Jesus.
What do they do for money?
Alec Baldwin, who doesn't know what the hell. Did you see China? Not China. Ireland. Got Ireland. You got China. Who does Ireland look like? She looks like Kathleen Turner, like a young Kathleen Turner, kind of.
Remember that? I think she's only 29.
You little pig.
That was horrible. And her mother released that. Come on.
So Alec is gone because nobody wants him. Nobody from Hollywood even came to help him during this whole thing. And he's got Ilaria because she piggity sing, dory sing. Okay.
That's disgusting, that woman.
Well, anyway, do we know what is the story about? What is the latest or the status of their show At Home with the Baldwins or whatever? Remember that?
No, because I tuned it out.
No, but you know about
I understand. Her goal was always to have as many kids as she could have, so they could have a TV show, a reality show. But reality shows are kind of done and over.
They
filmed it. I don't know if it's on somewhere, one season.
But didn't he also say, "I don't want to promote it"?
Yeah, he didn't promote it.
I'm tired of this. So anyway, so then Daniel Baldwin, wasn't he the one who went nuts? There was one guy who
in the Plaza Hotel and broke it up and ran it naked or something.
Well, now
I think that was him.
Now he's on with this Patrick Ben-David, and he's going, and he loves Trump. This is so Alec is like Alec is the Bobby Kennedy of the Baldwin family. Bobby Kennedy's been completely abandoned by his fellow Kennedys. Alec is just this. He's off because he is a. Look at this. This is my life. I always find out who's dead.
But the worst thing's happening to us in the last few days.
Wait a minute.
In
1998, Daniel Baldwin was arrested for cocaine possession after being found running naked in the halls of New York's Plaza Hotel. Yes. He was sentenced to 3 months in drug rehab. That happens.
It happens.
It happens. Oh, a bad act.
But
I'm sorry.
No. Your friend, the one you're friendly with,
Steven.
I just saw a promotional trailer. It's something like all these D-list celebrities. I use that word lightly.
Steven is the father of Haley.
Right, with Justin Bieber. They dump him in the woods. They got to fight their way out.
And Steven's wife is the daughter of, and you jazz folks, Eomir Deodato. Remember from CTI, 2001, Baubles, Bangles, and Bees? Great Fender Rhodes jazz pianist, Brazilian. That's Stephen's father-in-law. So this is, and Stephen's a good guy. We will DM each other sometimes. I don't know what he says. I have no idea. So sometimes when I'm feeling particularly, whatever, I'll write him like, open the pod door, Hal, or Mersey Dotes and Dozy Dotes, and I'll be in Scotland for you. Tango Niner. And I'm sending them, and he sends me, I don't know what frequency he's on.
I don't know how you have that much time to do that kind of thing, because I don't have time like that.
One time.
Well, I don't have enough time.
But I might be goading this lunatic. But anyway, the Baldwin family, let's face it, they're on the balls of their ass. There's nothing anymore. They're done. And they're all going for Trump.
How are they making money? This is what I was trying to ask you before. Hollywood, I put that loosely, everybody. There's no money there. There's nothing in reality shows. How do people have these homes? How does Alec Baldwin have a 7-bedroom apartment downtown?
Well, I mean, he made some
money. Goes fast though. You got all those kids. Sorry,
remember,
all those nannies. Come on.
I was watching, I guess, Billy. And I thought to myself, for a second, don't ask me how it's on this YouTube, rotation. And I got this thing, I'm thinking, what the hell am I watching? And it was China said, hey, babe, what are you doing? I'm at the pool. And I said, what am I watching this? And it was kind of compelling for him because, she's ill or she's got Jesus, whatever the hell it is. All of these folks now are finding out, what do we do? So what are they doing? They're going to Trump.
Oh, that reminds me. I bet you Dirty Diddy, his next ploy will be he's going to become born again Christian.
MAGA.
No, he's going to become like a born again. He found Christ. I bet you anything. 6 months from now, we're going to be talking about that.
And he claims that he was somehow the subject of some kind of a satanic.
But you know what? Yeah, but you know what nobody ever talks about, if I may say?
Heisenberg's uncertainty principle.
The liquor company distributor Diageo. Is that how you say Diageo?
Yeah.
The biggest one, right? Over 200 brands that he basically, they had his, what was it? Tequila? He had a tequila, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did not have a stake, I believe, in the company. They paid him a lot of money.
Right.
To,
he didn't have an ownership,
they sponsored a lot of these white parties, these freak offs we heard. So my question to you is, I didn't have a chance to ask Nancy this yesterday because too much was happening there. Do they bear any responsibility? Because we heard repeatedly rumors of these parties in the Hamptons, Miami, Westchester, Florida. If they're sponsoring, it's their liquor, their people are bringing it in. Their people are there witnessing things.
Could be aiding and abetting. Our good friend PD says 30 minutes late. Sorry, love Mrs. L. Posh New York accent. The epitome of class and decorum.
Well, thank you. I'm not sure about the posh New York accent.
Well, you'll go into that Jersey sometimes when you get mad.
I don't really think I do.
Oh yeah.
But you can't tangle with
that's
me.
Okay.
No. I get vish. But that's okay.
There's a couple of words. The way you say Newark.
Well, how do you say Newark?
No.
How do you say it?
It's just I can just hear it. It's like I can hear Philadelphia. I can just hear it. There's a way people from.
Now, I never hear it with you, and I'm so used to your voice, but I can hear it in family members of yours, that kind of Florida accent.
Kind of a West Tampa Southern.
I hear it distinctly in them. You don't have that.
Not really.
So I don't know. I do have a cross between. Actually, that old New York accent has really disappeared. Gone. Occasionally, there'll be some galoot on the street or something like, and I'll hear them talking like that.
Have you heard John Gotti Jr. Gotti Jr. the junior?
Is he in prison?
No, he's not. He's not. But he was on with I think Patrick and David, and he has a really
but it's like
thick,
like a Staten Island, New York, real.
Staten Island's just wow. They're really up there, and they're also
But you're not hearing a lot of that on the streets. Of New York, you used to hear a lot of
Tell them where we're going to make one of our pilgrimages to. Speaking of Staten Island.
Well, I'm going to Holterman's. We're doing that
Right.
soon because we have to remember, everybody, Holterman's Bakery. It's not just a 1 week thing where we support them, and they don't do mail order.
No.
Right? You can order online, but you got to go there. It's very old fashioned.
Mhm.
The oldest bakery in New York State.
And are they suing? I hope they're suing.
I don't see anything on it. I want
hope
them to sue.
I want them to own the vehicle.
ABC.
Will Hickling's Rock and Roll says, tune in every Sunday from 5 to 7 p.m. from Will Hickling's Rock and Roll Adventure on 91.7 WPCR and streaming live. All right, Will. That's clever. On 91.7 WPCR and streaming on live 0.36.
What kind of rock and roll is it?
Where is WPCR? Let me check on this.
Do your research.
I'll do it right now. That's what I do.
And then also, you didn't answer me about Eric Adams and Tom Homan and everybody.
Eric Adams is hoping for an apps. Oh, WPCR is a Plymouth. It's a student-oriented college radio station. Plymouth State University. Is that it? 91.7.
We're into those college stations.
The sound of Plymouth State. Oh, I love those.
The college stations for years.
Oh, I love those.
Very
You know who
simple.
had a great one? FGO or FOG. Columbia had a good one. I think Rutgers. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I remember one time I called somebody, I think it was Columbia. And I called them up and said, you! Oh, Jose Andres is closing 2 New York City restaurants. Jose Andres, that pain in the ass, pro-Biden guy.
I'll let you say what you want.
Who's-
I'm biting my lip about him.
Whose workers were, remember, they killed in that Israeli attack? Anyway.
We never heard more about that. He also has multiple restaurants in Washington, D.C. that everybody was flocking
Oh,
to.
he's a pain in
I
the ass.
actually one time was brought there. I didn't realize till I was there
He's a good chef. Good. But
to this hot spot in D.C. what this was
those
about.
are done.
But done. It's done.
People are going to have the stench of Biden, like it's going to stick to them.
That's interesting, though. They're closing because restaurants in New
Mhm.
York, I'm talking expensive restaurants, business is booming. I mean, don't you see that
Absolutely.
if we're passing at nighttime?
Absolutely.
And especially during the holidays, nobody's taking even reservations for lunch, even at a lot of restaurants. Just packed. People spend money. It's expensive
It
too,
sure
all
is.
these restaurants. So that is, I'll have to dig into that one, as they say, and see what's, I guess he's going to have a new something. You know what I mean? A new business now that they're not promoting him anymore.
He was absolutely brutal
Horrible.
towards President Trump.
But I want everybody to remember that.
Mhm.
I really do. I want people to remember all of this and not let people get off easily.
Also, do you see where who is it? Barron is supposedly real close. They're really pushing this Barron thing, but he can speak. You know, what is he? Frankenstein? He's alive. Anyway,
Well.
he's now friends with Elon.
Okay. Whatever.
Elon. No. I'm pointing it out to you. I'm not saying
I
it's
think
a
they're
bad
kind
thing.
of similar.
Well, no. Well, we don't know.
No,
I know what you mean.
Talking about
I know what you mean.
talking about like gaming. They're supposed to talking about
They're rather
rocket.
taciturn.
They're a little bit socially awkward.
Let me
both
tell
of
you
them.
something.
That's
Every
fine.
kid-
Whatever. He's a kid. Whatever. I don't care.
Everybody, we're going to be seeing at this party. There are people who are socially awkward. They're not on the spectrum just because they're quiet or they don't. You know, what I mean, this spectrum thing is
Everybody's on this spectrum.
This spectrum is too.
People
too,
use that a little too freely.
Yeah, it's too big.
You're on the
Sometimes
spectrum.
people are just a little, I guess,
Now-
quote, awkward.
Let me ask you another thing I've been thinking about. What do you think about, should we be having age term limits in the Senate, in Congress?
Age, I don't
Because-
know. Term limits, yes.
Okay, term limit. Okay. Well, both I'm going to ask you about, because we heard about Nancy Pelosi
The only
falling.
term-
Don't make any mean comments. The woman fell. When did she fall today?
Today,
Broke her hip or something?
yeah, on a marble.
Then did you see Mitch McConnell being pushed
Yes.
around in a wheelchair in Washington?
Yes.
Then we have a couple of other ones there we don't hear much about
But-
that aren't doing well.
Let me tell you something, and I'm sure you've seen this. But see this, our friend. This is
I don't even know what to say about that.
Carla, you're a mensch.
Except bless you.
Everything is in our junk file. Everything is
We have to
spam.
constantly check junk. But
I spend my time at home.
I haven't been in junk in about 4 hours, and I better check it. It's like a lot goes into the junk.
Be careful how you say.
Oh, sorry. Well, I didn't mean it like that. Let's get back to it's Ventilation Friday.
Go ahead.
Let's get back
Ventilate,
to
baby.
No, I really want your opinion, or I'd like to hear from the listeners. I think it's a good idea if somebody hits 80 that maybe they step aside. What do you think? And not only because we know some brilliant 80-year-olds, their minds are brilliant, but do you ever go to the Capitol and walk around everybody? It's dangerous, those marble steps and
not
this and that. And,
necessarily.
Well, I want to know what people think.
I do not.
Well, okay, you don't think so. What about term limits?
Hang on. Oh, yes. Term limits. Absolutely.
And so what do you think that should be?
Maybe 3 terms.
Because I feel like
it depends. For Senate, 3, maybe 3. 3 is enough. It's 18 years. House is 2 years. That's a little different story.
I think the 2 years is a little short.
Yeah.
Why isn't that 3 years? Because just when we are starting to work with somebody, it takes a long time, everybody, with the red tape to get, just when we get momentum, it's up for them. So it's a little bit difficult. I think should be 3 years as well. Do you know why it's not? Why there's such a difference?
Between the House and the...
Why do you just have 2 years?
That's by Constitution. The idea is that they wanted... The idea is that Senate was more deliberative. It was a slower process. They called the Senate the saucer where you cool the soup, because I think that the Congress is probably more powerful.
Cool
ways and means and everything. But theirs it's a very slower. That's all by process.
You didn't hear my little joke.
Okay.
Okay. Moving along. What else do you have to do? And we had a lot of. I can't believe it's Friday. The week just went like that. Closing in on Christmas. We had so many Warriors events with handing out and distributing and getting toys to kids and things like that. So what's going on, isn't it? I'm already making appointments for March. My January's full because January is human trafficking, or as I like to say, slavery month. Slavery is much more descriptive. That's already full. February, we've got your show in February. I have a couple of other, I anticipate being in Washington a lot coming up. We'll leave that for another time. And I'm making appointments in March. It's almost like I can't even think about that, right? Getting into spring almost. Doesn't time seem as we get older? It's going faster, constantly, going faster and faster and faster.
Let me see what else is going on here.
Well, let's see if anybody has any thoughts on. I wanted to hear what everybody thought about term limits, about age, things like that.
Carla says term limits now. By the way, Carla, thank you. So incredibly kind. Let me see here. PD says, Kai Trump, such a lovely girl and a great golfer. I like her. She seems like just so. I just say, please don't ruin her innocence. Keep her out of the limelight. There's going to be predators that are going to come in. Oh, I can just see it right now. Make sure you double up on the Secret Service. But I really like her. She's very, very nice. How about that?
She's a good golfer.
How about that Kimberly Guilfoyle?
I don't ever talk about her. I don't waste my time on her.
No more dual citizenship for elected officials. I'm kind of with you on that one.
I am too.
I'm really.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I'm for that one too.
I am 100%.
Well, I think a lot of things. This is a new country, a new way of thinking, a new everything. I believe, as I constantly tell you, nothing holds that used to work or obviously doesn't work, right, everybody? I think it is a great time for innovation, new thoughts. And also, by virtue of the internet, everybody's involved and has an opinion and all that. To really bring the public, I'm serious about this, into issues of how to intervene and solve and grow things and become a powerhouse. And that's why I always say to you every single day, the next 4 years going and then forward, we have to keep the momentum, the growth, the power going and not ever relinquish it. Because I have to admit to you, I'm still in shock.
I know, me too.
About, what, I can't say any other names, but like all of this, I'm telling you, I just can't believe it. It's all going to be.
Be specific. What do you mean? You can't believe that Trump finally won, or that he won, or that
No,
we
we,
weren't?
we knew he should. We knew from our travels.
We came this close.
We know from our work behind the scenes, people want him. Even those who pretend, I know, whether it's the banking business, Hollywood, again, I use that term loosely. They go in that voting booth, they're voting for Trump. I don't care what they say online about, they love Kamala and all that. We know it. Even the illegals and Hispanic community and Chinese community that were, their family, they're oriented, they're hard workers. Let's break it apart. They're not voting for this craziness, right? But it was just too big. I was sick that whole night. We did about 6.5 hours live because I was monitoring on my laptop those precincts. And when I saw a couple of them in states that had closed 2-3 hours earlier, were just not moving. They weren't releasing anything. I was scared to death, right? They're evil. And we have to keep that in mind. I'm going to keep saying it like a broken record. What they did, how they evil did to this country, did to families, did to kids, did to bringing in, it's 10 million. And finally, I'm vindicated because I've been talking, I get my information from the horse's mouth. I'll leave it like that. I've been saying over 500,000 unaccompanied minors are in this country, right? And finally, now everybody's saying it. First, it was 340,000. First, it was 85. Then it was 320. Then it was 340. And Eric Adams stood up there yesterday and said, we have over 500,000. That is what I was always told. And you know what? It could be 1 million. It could be 1 million, right? So finally,
and he went from
truth's coming.
He went from bragging about being a
sanctuary
city to basically throw their ass out.
Well, I don't think he has a choice because nothing's working for him. Nobody wants him on his left side or whatever side that is. And but to hear Kathy Hochul say, yeah, we're going to get rid of the criminal illegals in our city. Really, Kathy? Well, where have you been?
She also wants, this is a woman who is pushing for this congestion pricing, which
it's coming January 5th.
Remember who brought that on board? That was Cuomo.
Cuomo did a lot of damage,
Absolutely.
And also, don't forget about, oh God, I forgot his name now.
That's our middle.
We've been
last night we were doing this last night. Who is it?
I was like, who is that actress in this show?
And I got both right.
And I was like, come on, she was in Friends. I can't, you got it right. I'm like,
Lisa Kudrow.
I couldn't. I was watching some Netflix series with Ray Romano, and they live in this house in California. I was binging on all the episodes, but I couldn't think of her name the first 2 episodes. And there was somebody else I said to you, who is that actor?
Arquette.
And you're like, it's David Arquette.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's
and
right.
For me, because I'm normally asking you.
I'm usually the one, but I could, maybe because it was like 12 o'clock at night, I couldn't.
Yes.
Think. But here's what I want to say. Eric Adams has no choice but to jump on board the Trump train and get into the fold, but it's also the right thing to do.
It is so beautiful.
And so I do see the pendulum swinging back. I do see people talking more about the kids and about safety and about this and that. But here's the thing. We have to have clear-cut like intervention, prevention, education.
Absolutely.
Get to our kids. We can't just keep talking about it. So that's my goal with the new administration, to really get in there and create some difference. I'll just leave it at that for now. What else you got?
Well, I think that's it. And I think we have to be done. First of all, let me say to you that
These wonderful, beautiful
isn't she
people.
great? Dick Dickerson,
all your people are great.
Lizzie Solak. No, they're mine or our people.
Okay.
Freedom, thank you. Carla, the cookie CEO. Absolutely.
Carla, incredible.
Incredible. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You'll be hearing from us more specifically.
Oh, yes.
Pilgrim Media, thank you. PD, we thank you as well. For Will Hickings, by the way, Rock and Roll Adventure. By the way, don't forget, tune in every Sunday from 5 to 7 p.m. for Will Hickings' Rock and Roll Soul Adventure.
Did you make a note?
At 91.7 WPCR and streaming on Live 365. Absolutely. Will Hicking, Sunday 5 to 7, WPCR.
I'll do it.
Will Hicking. I love anybody who's doing that radio business. PD, thank you. Carla again. And let me see who else we have here. Oh, Thomas Almy. No more dual citizenship. Absolutely.
Agree. I'm glad that was brought up. Thanks.
All right, my friends. We'll see you tomorrow. It's going to be 9. I think it's 9. Yeah, whatever. Pray for me. I'm going to be... I'm doing this for you. We're going to have a nice time. A little Christmas cheer. We're going to go on doing our stuff. Have a wonderful time. In any event, we thank you so much. Isn't she wonderful? Give me. Look at that. I love this. Is my
That's my
that
vintage
is
Santa.
so beautiful.
My China Santa, not from China, everybody.
Indeed.
Just like a hand painted.
All right, dear friends. Thank you for your love. Thank you for everything else. We will talk to you tomorrow. And until then, as we normally
Sending
say,
our love.
sending our love and double barrel. Until then, remember the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Dad.